In this video series, we're covering AI in use in the enterprise, and I'm suggesting that we manage AI like an asset. And that's not just for the cost and the risk, but that's for managing the innovation, unlocking the innovation, and allow people to innovate faster. So in the last video, we spoke around the fact that AI is showing all the hallmarks of classic IT sprawl in the enterprise. Lots of experimentation, not much ROI thought about just yet, and not much governance around it. So in this video, I'd like to cover what AI is actually in use. So according to ITAM Forum research, there were three main types that were identified. And I'll go through these in ascending order. So the lowest of the three in use was something called Predictive Analytics and Machine Learning. And that was around 15% of organizations were using this. And this is whereby you might have like an assembly line or a supply chain or a system that's throwing out data, and you can use an algorithm to analyze that data to predict what might happen in the future. So you might have an assembly line, and you could predict when that assembly line is likely to have a fault based on previous faults, and then you can be proactive to reach out to fix that before it fails and so forth. You can be a lot more proactive. So that's predictive analytics and machine learning. And one of the examples I've seen of this in use is the pest control company, Rentokil Initial. So they actually did facial recognition of rats. So they could take video footage on their client sites, identify when a rat outbreak was happening, and take proactive steps to actually address it. Now, this is opposed to waiting for the next quarterly visit with that client and discovering there's an outbreak and having to take remedial action. So this allows, no matter what the usage, it allows organizations to be a lot more proactive in supporting their customers, predicting failure, predicting what might happen in the future. So that's predictive analytics. The next biggest AI in use in the enterprise was natural language processing at 17%. So this is whereby you're analyzing text from users. So the most common use of this is most likely to be things like chatbots or interactions with customer support or with customers around facilitating their support and their customer service process. And also what I've seen quite commonly is things like contract analysis using AI, or you might assess HR documents, or you might do a combination of both. You might do a chatbot analyzing, responding to questions on HR policy, referring to HR documents or something. So that's natural language processing. And the third example that we see in use in the enterprise, and the most common at around 29-30%, is generative AI. So this is the ChatGPT, the Copilot. You're interacting and it's generating content for you. And although lots of people are experimenting with this, the most powerful thing I've seen recently on this is from the clothing chain Mango. And they actually generated, so they took photos of the garments, first of all, and then they generated a fictional digital model, and then they created a digital fictional background for the model and superimposed the new clothing line on this model. So, and it's like end-to-end campaign for this clothing chain. So just to think about what that eliminates, that's no photographer, there's no model, there's no 2 days in the Bahamas recording this photo shoot, and you're significantly altering that entire process. Now, the fearmongers would say there's a huge amount of jobs losses from that, but I would argue that actually there's as many jobs, if not more, created during that digital process than there have been displaced. And it means that actually that whole supply chain and the advertising of clothes can move a lot quicker. So those are the three most common uses of AI we see. In the next video, we'll explore some of the barriers to people actually implementing and experimenting with AI in the enterprise.